University, you know what, pick up the Gragas, we're gonna pick up the Janna instead for another disengage against your team, and having Kaisa as well gives the comfortability onto Danny in this game or two.
Yeah, they played this in the first game as well, and of course that's another denial on the Gragas Janna double disengage. So now Leonite may opt for a Rakan here. Rakan has been incredibly strong. Especially when you pair it up with a Xayah, you really don't have to worry too much because Xayah has self-peel because of that Feather Storm, and then you have the Root. So having a Rakan by your side, that means you can focus on other things by, being chaotic in the backline as well. And then you have a Gragas. So that's two things. There's the Olaf, though. That's the hover of the Olaf.
Is it? Olaf coming in for the Icon series for the fall season, and I think they could pair it up with maybe Seraphine or a Sona if they do want it, but I think it's more favorable onto a Seraphine instead, onto the mid side of the map, as you stated, with Garen now being locked into Unite Esports. And Jarvan 4 as their counter onto the Olaf. Jarvan 4 can lock into the Olaf. If they have the team fight, Garen can now be sort of the equalizer. Silence onto Renekton, silence onto the Kaisa, and Ari being the last pick here for FENNEL University, they want to make it so that the charm is there onto a Gragas into the mid side of the map, because I'm expecting it to go mid lane.
Yeah, and that's gonna be early level 3s, I suppose. A lot of early level 3 action, especially I know Olaf, Ari, pretty good at the early skirmishes. For Leonite, the same thing actually. A Jarvan and as well as a Gragas can be insanely strong. So the pressure will fall into Shaw actually for FENNEL. Will he be able to land the charm? If the charm doesn't land, then they call it a day. They wait for basically another phase where they can fight again.
Yeah, because when it comes to CC, FENNEL University is only dependent onto Ari, Renekton, and Janna. And Janna CC is not really just hyper spam sort of CC. They need to wait for the Howling Gale and the Monsoon. And Renekton and Ari will be sort of the champions that will be the key points of players, key points of champion that needs to have that CC. And on top of all that, they don't have any AoE CC aside from the Janna. So I think this is going to be a difficult situation if they don't get the early game because of how much the Unite Esports prepared for the mid game, late game with the Jarvan 4, the Gragas, and the Rakan as their CC potential champions.
Yeah, we talked about this as well. If the Gragas is usually banned, the Rakan, the Galio, then it would be a prime opportunity for the Olaf to shine. But this time, there's the Jarvan for that soft counter. Or hard counter, in this case with the Cataclysm. This is another lane swap we're looking at though from Danny and Rafi. And Jash may have a difficult time. He was picked to be the great neutralizer against Power. But this time though, he'll get to use his silence, possibly in the later fights instead.
Yeah, and FENNEL University understands that Power has the potential to just stay in the Dragon lane and sustain himself against two members of the Unite Esports. So I think this is the matter of lane swapping. The preview one, top-sided map, FENNEL University is looking for the early engage. Josh is just hugging the tower though. So a lot of opportunity for FENNEL University to die down if they continue through, and Garen to also die down if he makes a wrong step here in top side of the map. While we have Power just chilling onto the sidelines, waiting for the opportunity to reach a scale out against two-man for Unite Esports.
It's kind of difficult to hold down a Garen. You mentioned earlier, Infinity, there's no particular hard CC, so he could definitely buy his time and just play safe. Look at him clearing the wave.
Ooh, but Void Seeker will not connect. If that connect, that will be the kill though. But still, Danny will secure the first blood and will get that gold up and running.
Apparently, it don't matter if you don't have hard CC. You still have that Howling Gale at least. And Jash walked into 3 people wanting to clear the wave. Understandable approach, but at the same time, there's just too much damage coming from Doming and as well as Danny. Now it's a race for First Blood Tower. Who's gonna get it? I wonder. And it's going to be FENNEL University finishing off the tower first.
Yeah, because the Unite Esports went for the 4-man route into the bot side of the map. Yes, that's extra damage, but at the same time, that will increase the armor of the turrets, especially before 4 minutes of the game, where FENNEL Versus already got the half of the tower done for the top-sided map. So pretty much they got the tower first blood, they got the kill first blood in this particular game, giving them the 2k gold lead in 2 minutes of this match.
And they practically spent so much time on the tower. What? That was... FENNEL Adversity was able to reset already, to the point that Doming was able to secure the Scuttler as well. And yeah, Andy69 was basically forced to stay a while and hit the tower alongside his team. So it is going to be FENNEL Adversity definitely winning that on the gold department, and as well as maximizing their time here on the current state of the map. Looking at the first item buys, of course, still not going to be completed items, as it's still pretty much early into the game, 3 minutes. We get to see the debut. Well, not exactly the debut, but we've seen the Prophet's Pendant in game number 1. So a little bit of that added magic penetration, I suppose. So that's we're expecting a bunch of really hurtful body slams combo coming from Sean here from the Gragas.
Probably, if Sean wants to go for the damage aspect of his champion, he could go for the Lich Bane after, even the ROA, to match that AP scaling for this champion. And when was the last time that we saw a 3-minute game wherein Danny already has, or the Kaisa already has secured the Acadian Rain upgrade? Because in that First Blood, in the Tower First Blood as well, in top-sided map, he was able to accumulate a lot of gold that enabled him to go for the long sword, and also a lot more BF sword, and also the another item to really just scale out into the Acadian Rain. So now that's gonna be raw damage for FENNEL Adversity.
We'll have to see now, though. Look at the silence!
Ooh, Garen is diving in. He will fall down, though, because Power just dived in on top side of the hall.
Oh,
But the blue team has stolen the Rift Herald. Leonite Esports will get this at the very least. But now it's going to be Feather Storm for Saya forced away, and they will need to go back. But FENNEL Adversity got the 2 kills there from that engagement alone.
You'd have to be a little bit worried where the kills went over to. I believe 1 kill went on to Danny, and that's going to be a huge problem. He was already 1k ahead of Ro before that fight, and now we could possibly see another.
800 HP. FENNEL Adversity will get the Mountain Dragon. Now it's going to be Garen going in ahead. A lot of damage are now coming through. Doming and Rafi will be forced to back away, but Power is on enemy territory, and Leonite Esports can punish this through and through. Power is trying to run away, but Rakondo will get the kill, not onto a carry for Leonite Esports.
And not to Sean, not to Ro, so that is quite unfortunate, but a little bit puzzling, I suppose, where Power wanted to maybe place a deep ward while Leonite was busy chasing Doming there, but they have spotted him in his path to his sneaky mission, and he will suffer the consequences. Now, FENNEL moving their efforts to the bottom portion of the map, just because Leonite, just to even things out, because their bot has been opened earlier as well.
Yeah, the Rift Herald will be forced because Leonite Esports has the information that there's a 3-man roam for FENNEL Adversity into the Dragon Lane. So pretty much they want to secure that trade-off, especially with the 2k gold deficit already. But now it's going to be Power being pinned down by Leonite Esports. That's going to be knocked up from Yanzo as well. Dragon 4 to lock in to secure the kill. Shaw will be the only one remaining. Got the trade-off in. Anti-69 will fall down. Rift Herald will come through, and that will be the 1-for-1.
It is a really nice mini win for Leonite for sure. They're able to capitalize on that Rift Herald. I believe it was the second charge kicking in, so that is exactly what we were expecting with the Rift Herald changes, timer changes. You're able to get more space to work with, to push a little bit more on that inner tower. Meanwhile, though, it is going to be Shaw on the Leandri's first buy. I assume it is going to be the Rabadons for second. So not the Ludens that we usually see on an Ari this time around.
I think he wants to go for the dual potential for an Ari. Want to have that prolonged fight so that his AP will now scale up. Follow that through with a Rabadon stat cap, potentially that can be built on second core item. That's going to be raw damage all around for Shaw if he does go for it. But Renekton already with the Black Cleaver, with Doming already doing the same thing with the Black Cleaver as well. So a lot of penetration items secured by FENNEL Adversity that can stack up against the Unite Esports.
Yeah, there's like 3 three heavy frontliners like Josh and Andy, and a little bit on Sean, I suppose, if he shifts to a little bit more of the tankier build of Duel at the bottom lane, though. Maybe not, I guess. Infernal Drake is going to be spawning soon. And I think that is the time where we fully see a complete 5v5. And I think the problem would be for Leonite, they really have to watch the top portion of the map because they got to get Shaw from FENNEL to split push as well.
Really, it's just FENNEL Adversity having that a mindset of, you know what, we have the advantage, let's put Sean topside in the map, get that farm in, so that later on he can participate in much more fights. You're looking at a 7.5k gold mid laner for FENNEL Adversity compared to Leonite Esports, only 5.5, so 2k gold difference onto these key core items for FENNEL Adversity alone. And this is the reason because of how much he does on the splits. Does not connect though, Sean will still stay alive.
Yeah, you're right. It is 2k goldie, just as you mentioned, versus Shaw versus Sean. And that is the reason why we get to see Sean planning his assassination attempt on the Gragas. But it didn't work out so well.
Power.
Because...
Remember on for Leonite Esports trying to get a kill onto Power. They understand the Infernal Dragon will come at 6 seconds, but they were not able to get the kill though. So it's still going to be a 5-member available for both teams right now.
It is FENNEL moving to get the mid lane.
Charm will connect onto the Garen. That's going to be a huge CC coming through. That's the stun. Renekton will try in. The stun onto Sean. The Dragons will go for the explosive cast as well. The knock up with the flag and drag. Jarvan 4, but it locks down onto FENNEL Adversity. No kills will be done further. It's going to be a 1-for-1.
Shaw has been landing all these impactful charms, and he's 301, and that's him without the Rabadons just yet. Imagine if he had Rabadons on that fight. Leonite, though, will adjust by moving towards the mid lane and pushing it instead, but they will get denied by Shaw. And that's going to be an Infernal Drake. Look at them. FENNEL, again, stacking up all these dragon buffs.
FENNEL Adversity, in that particular engagement, they were not really going for the all-in 5v5. They just need to remove Andy69. Even though if Power died in that fight, they secured the Infernal Dragon in trade of those 1-for-1. So pretty much, I think FENNEL Adversity got the better trade there against the Leonite Esports.
Yeah, for sure. They didn't even need to sacrifice too much. They still kept the mid lane tower. They were still able to make everyone survive. The death so far has only been towards Power. He has been doing frontline things, even though, let's just say, Power as a Renekton wants to get a kill or two in the backline against the squishies, but he has to accept defeat. This is the scenario. He's gonna keep dying. Remember, the only target he can potentially take is Ro. But he has self-peel, he has the Feather Storm. And once he baits that out, and he's the only casualty, he's doing a good job.
And now Josh is diving into the push. He doesn't know there is an enemy champion waiting for himself. Redemption will be through. That's going to be extra HP. Doming, though, that will be the mobility coming right through. He wants to go for this fight. As now it's going to be Renekton going for the flank as well. That's the Charm connecting. Gragas will fall down. It's now 5v4 in favor of FENNEL Adversity as Jarvan 4 will try to tank out his teammates. The lockdown is going to be in. Cataclysm will not secure anyone as that's going to be a 1-for-2 trade-off in favor for FENNEL Adversity as they take the lead once again.
That is just a sacrifice of dumbing instead now of Power, and it's still working out because the carries are still alive. Danny's still alive, Show is still alive, and now Leonite has no choice but to watch another tower fall, and this gives FENNEL Adversity more space to work with, especially that Baron is up and running.
Now FENNEL Adversity is happy with those 2 kills and also the tier 2 turret. Now go for the recon for now to buy the items and greedy up use the gold that they were able to accumulate in those fights and objectives. So 2 core item already for Dom Meng with the Death's Dance, so pretty much more sustainability onto the tank of FENNEL Adversity. But now it's Power now diving in, tries to go for the stun as well. Rift Cutter will be secured by Leonite Esports though, as that will give information against FENNEL Adversity onto the Baron Nashor.
Yeah, that is a little bit of breathing space, I suppose. Oh, there's no fight. The charm missed. I assume the fight again. Once the charm misses, that is the point where Shaw will have to wait for the cooldown to come back up again, and then try another day. For Leonite, yeah, they're what are their options now? Again, they're still waiting for for Ro to ramp up, because this is looking to be a single threat team. I mean, there is still Sean here building more on the AP department, less more on the tanks. So we've got AP covered. So the burst coming from Sean, Leonite is going to heavily rely on the burst coming from Sean here for the setup, for the setups rather, the body slam. The Cataclysm will always be reserved just for doming, just when the Ragnarok gets popped. So the pressure falls onto Sean and as well as Yanzu to start fights.
Yeah, and I think it's a matter of utilizing your ultimates, right? If Jarvan 4 doesn't utilize his ultimate against Doming will just scale out, go into the backside, get that kills up and running. And you talked about Sean building onto the Rabadon setup. A lot of damage indeed, but I think it's more favorable now to build onto a Crystalline instead of a Lich Bane. Yes, that will decrease how much damage he provides in the later team fights, but considering that Jarvan 4, Garen, and Rakan wasn't really able to defend Saya in those prior team fights, states a signal that Leonite Esports needs to build more defensively against FENNEL adversity, and Crystalline is really just a cheap item for how much benefit it provides. 2.9k gold, right? But FENNEL adversity right now, starting onto the Ocean Drake, they want to secure this third dragon buff. As now it is indeed going to go through that FENNEL versus again the Ocean Dragon. And it's Danny going for the killer instinct now. Trying to get the kill onto one. Yanzu will go down, show him to follow through, and the 69 will be dead as well. It's now the 5v1, 4v1. FENNEL adversity will try to finish this game as Jash will be the only one remaining, as that's going to be the ace. FENNEL adversity taking it home for the 5 kills.
Look at them go, FENNEL! There's only one sacrifice, and it was just Shaw. That was actually a very 50-50 dragon, because it was Shaw that was able to secure that dragon for the rest of the team. And now, because the map is practically open, 10 seconds for most of Leonite members, it is FENNEL with the free Baron, while Power is making his way and capitalizing on this buff that is going to come soon for him to keep pushing a little bit towards the bottom side.
And I'm glad that you mentioned it. Renekton having the split push on bot side of the map, not really supporting his team to get the Baron Nashor, means that the Baron buff is available readily onto the bot side minions. And he utilized it a little bit, but considering that Leonite Esports is already alive, but that timer is done, he went back away. So clever move for FENNEL adversity.
Yeah, it's definitely the safest way. Again, FENNEL, very controlled, it's controlled aggression for sure. They're only aggressive when they need to be, and they're very clean, especially when they're ahead. And now 615 still for Shaw. This guy is a monster. For Leonite, they are looking to see if they can hold Shaw down, but it's so difficult. He has the Spirit Rush, he has the Flash if it's off cooldown, and now this is Leonite just trying the best to play defense. They have a decent amount of wave clear. They've got Sean on the Gragas. They've got the feathers from Ro. So I think they can try to slow it down, but the biggest problem is if FENNEL is going, what, 1-3-1, it could be a problem.
Yeah, and it's happening right now. FENNEL adversity with 3 members on top side, 1 member on mid side, and another into the bot side will secure an inhibitor turret because of how much divided attention Leonite Esports is doing against FENNEL adversity, as another will come through pretty much anytime soon, as the mid side will fall down and Leonite Esports is now cornered against FENNEL adversity.
The charms, man! The charms from Shaw is just too much to handle. Leonite even... It's basically a mag. It's a... This guy on the Ahri is absolutely insane.
So, every single inhibitor turret will fall down. FENNEL adversity is happy to go for that one. It opens up the base, it opens up every single lane for FENNEL adversity in this later game. As you see right now, 30k gold lead already. Once if they secure the Elder Dragon, this game is done. And that's the Cloud Dragon as well. So a lot more mobility on the line against Leonite Esports. I think the only potential that they can bring it back is get the Elder Dragon, play it very late. Even if they were able to defend, FENNEL adversity is really just ahead so much. So I think that's going to be a key to make it all come back if ever it does.
Oh my god, he went in!
Percentage is Renekton diving into this fight. Kills off Bro 1. No damage right now for Leonite Esports as their ADC will fall to the ground. Caitlyn Rain will be there as well. Raw damage coming through. The charm will not connect. It was the wrong direction. But Shaw will still stay alive though, half HP. Jarvan 4 will go for the Cataclysm onto 2 champions. Renekton will get EAV damage up and run. and that will be the 1 for 2 trade, 1 for 3 trade of 98 HP.